All right, let's talk about something that is completely changing our world: artificial intelligence. Especially in medicine, where it's already helping doctors spot diseases earlier and even design treatments just for you. But as this tech moves at, light speed, a really big question comes up. Are the rules of science actually keeping up? Today, we're going to dig into a study that audited the official rulebooks for medical research to find out if we can really trust this AI revolution in our healthcare. So, here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the incredible promise of AI, why it's being called medicine's new superpower. Then, we'll get into the problem of the missing rulebook. We'll follow the researchers as they audit the top medical journals, reveal what they found, their troubling diagnosis, and finally, we'll look at their prescription for building trust for the future. Okay, so let's start with the basics. Why is everyone so excited about AI in medicine? Well, it's because the potential is just enormous, especially in a field like family medicine, which is, for most of us, the absolute frontline of healthcare. And look, this isn't some far-off science fiction concept. It's happening right now. AI is already a seriously powerful tool being used to make diagnoses better, to make sense of complex data, and just to deliver better care. I mean, think about how practical these applications are. We're talking about AI helping to improve the accuracy of a diagnosis, tailoring a treatment plan specifically for you, and crunching massive amounts of data to see patterns a human being just couldn't possibly spot. It's also making things like managing a chronic disease or using telemedicine way more efficient. The promise here is just a smarter, faster, and more personal kind of healthcare for all of us. And there's always a but with this kind of rapid innovation, right? With all this incredible speed comes a huge challenge. The technology is just moving so much faster than our ability to create rules and standards for it. It's creating this sort of Wild West scenario where we have these amazing tools, but without a shared rulebook, things can get pretty risky. And that brings us to the absolute heart of the matter. Science, at its core, is built on trust, on transparency, and on the ability for one scientist to check and reproduce another's work. But if everyone is using these powerful AI tools in their own undocumented black box kind of way, how can we ever be sure the findings are real? How do we know the conclusions are sound? And we're not just talking about what could go wrong. The researchers behind this study point to very specific dangers. A lack of transparency means we literally can't see how an AI came to a conclusion. AI models can hallucinate, which is a nice way of saying they can just make stuff up, which could introduce totally fabricated results into the scientific record. And if the AI is trained on biased data, it can end up making health inequities even worse. All of this makes it nearly impossible to reproduce, and therefore, to trust the research. So, to get a handle on just how serious this problem is, a group of researchers decided to run an audit. They didn't just guess. They went straight to the source. They decided to investigate the official guidelines that the most influential journals in family medicine give to their scientists. So, here's how they did it. They went through the instructions for authors for 40 of the top journals. You can think of these instructions as the official rulebook. If you're a scientist and you want to get published, you have to play by these rules. The researchers wanted to know one simple thing. What do these rulebooks actually say about using AI? So, what did they find? Well, after they analyzed all the data from those 40 journals, the picture that emerged was complicated and, frankly, pretty troubling. Now, at first glance, this number looks great, right? Over 82% of the top journals have a policy that mentions AI. That's a huge majority. It suggests that, the people in charge are aware of the issue and they're trying to do something about it. But the key phrase here is some policy. Because as soon as you scratch the surface, that consensus just evaporates. Pretty much all the journals agree on a couple of basic things. An AI can't be listed as an author, and researchers have to say if they used it. But on the really tricky questions, like is it okay to use AI to generate the actual text for your study? Or what about the images and figures? The policies are all over the map. Some say it's fine, some say no, and about a third of them have no rule at all. This total mess of inconsistency leads us to the most important question of all. Are these basic, often really vague policies actually enough to guarantee that AI-powered research is transparent, reproducible, and at the end of the day, trustworthy? Well, the study's most shocking finding gives us a very clear answer. Just 5%. So what on earth does that number mean? Well, it's the key to this entire problem. That 5%? That's the percentage of journals that require researchers to follow AI-specific reporting guidelines. These are detailed, standardized frameworks. They have names like CONSORT-AI and Spirit AI, and they basically act as a universal standard. They don't just say, tell us you used AI. They force researchers to explain exactly how they used it, what data, which models, what settings. This is the stuff that lets other scientists check the work, and only 5% of journals were even recommending them. So, after delivering this pretty troubling diagnosis, the researchers didn't just stop there. They offered a clear path forward, a prescription, if you will, for how medical journals can fix this and build a future where we can all actually trust AI-driven research. And the researchers themselves really sum up the stakes perfectly in their conclusion. They say that without this kind of structured guidance, the whole field of AI research in medicine is at risk of being inconsistent, impossible to reproduce, and just full of ethical landmines. The need for action is really, really urgent. And here it is. They're a clear, three-step prescription. First, journals have to standardize their policies so the rules are the same everywhere. Second, they need to mandate detailed disclosure, not just a simple checkbox. And third, and this is the most important part, they have to formally adopt and require the use of those specific reporting guidelines, like CONSORT-AI. The end goal here is simple, but it's also incredibly profound. Following these steps will make sure that the science that's going to power our future medical care is transparent enough for us to inspect, reproducible enough for us to verify, and trustworthy enough for us to build on. It's really about protecting the integrity of science itself. And that leaves us with one final crucial thought. This isn't just some academic debate about publishing rules. This is about one of the biggest challenges of our time, making sure our human values and scientific principles can keep up with our technology. As AI gets more and more woven into the decisions your doctor makes, the integrity of the research behind it has life or death consequences. So the question this study really leaves us with is, who is going to step up to write the rulebook that protects all of us?